Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to dive into a topic that is quite literally reshaping our world, this brand new era of collaboration between humans and machines. I'm Celsa Nostricción, and if you follow my channel, you already know this is something I'm incredibly passionate about. This whole explainer is actually based on research I co-authored, looking at how these partnerships are already changing everything, from how we work to how we shop, and even how we receive care.
For years, the big, scary question has always been about replacement. But what the research is showing us is a much more interesting and honestly, a much more exciting reality. The whole conversation is shifting away from automation versus humans to automation with humans. So the real question we're tackling today isn't about replacement at all. It's about collaboration.
Okay, so to really wrap our heads around this, we're going to break it down into 5 parts. We'll kick things off with the big shift in thinking. Then we'll define a couple of key terms, look at some real-world examples. I'll introduce you to a powerful framework for understanding all of it. And finally, we'll look ahead at what the future holds. All right, let's get into it.
So, believe it or not, we're now in what's being called Industry 5.0. And unlike the industrial revolutions of the past that were all about efficiency, all about pure automation, this new phase is all about partnership. And it's happening right now because, really for the first time, the technology is finally mature enough to be a true partner, not just a simple tool. The goal here is to create these systems where the unique strengths of humans, our creativity, our critical thinking, work side by side with the strengths of machines, like their incredible precision and data processing power.
And this right here, this gets to the absolute core of this new way of thinking. We are not trying to build a world where humans are obsolete. Not at all. Instead, this technology is being designed as a tool to augment our capabilities, to help us do our jobs better, safer, and way more effectively. The whole point is to make humans more capable, not less necessary.
So, how does this collaboration actually look in practice? Well, the research points to 2 major forms it takes, and it is so important to understand the difference between them. Let's break down what we mean by cobotics and human AI ensembles.
Okay, first up, we have cobotics, and that co is key. It stands for collaborative. These are physical robots that are built to work right next to people in the same space. So imagine a mechanic working with a robotic arm that's holding a heavy engine part perfectly in place, or maybe a warehouse worker whose cobot zips around, bringing them the exact items they need. It's all about sharing a physical space and sharing physical tasks. Now, on the other hand, we have human AI ensembles. This is less about physical work and much more about cognitive work. Think of it this way. Here, an AI crunches just massive amounts of data to find insights, to make predictions, and to offer recommendations that a human then uses to make the final complex call. It's really a partnership of minds. So let's just break it down really simply. Cobotics, that's about physical collaboration, helping with tasks that need a lot of strength or pinpoint precision. Human AI ensembles, that's cognitive collaboration, boosting our ability to make sense of incredibly complex information. So one is about bodies working together, and the other is about brains working together. Okay, I know this might all be sounding a little bit theoretical, but these systems are already out there. They're here. So let's take a look at how this is actually taking shape in the real world. Where are these human-machine teams making a real impact today? We're seeing the fastest adoption happening in these 4 key sectors. I mean, from hospital corridors and busy factory floors to the giant warehouses that power all our online shopping, these human-robot teams are quickly becoming a part of daily reality, and they're changing the nature of work for millions of people.
Let's take healthcare, for instance. A nurse's job involves just an immense amount of physical and emotional labor. So by having a cobot help with, say, lifting a patient or just grabbing supplies, that nurse is freed up to focus on what humans do best, providing that complex care, making critical judgments, and offering the kind of emotional support that a machine just can't. It's the exact same idea in manufacturing. A cobot can perform a perfectly precise weld thousands and thousands of times without ever getting tired. And what does that do? It frees up the human worker to go from being a simple assembler to being a skilled technician who oversees the whole process, makes sure the quality is perfect, and solves the kinds of problems the robot could never handle on its own. And in retail, we actually see both types of collaboration working together. You have physical cobots in the back, sorting packages and managing inventory.
And at the same time, you have human AI ensembles working on the front end, analyzing your browsing history to power those super personalized recommendations that help you find exactly what you're looking for. Now, to properly analyze these really complex new relationships, in our research, we used a specific framework. It's called activity theory, and it gives us this incredibly powerful lens to understand not just the technology itself, but the entire system of work that surrounds it. So, to put it simply, activity theory doesn't just look at a person using a tool to do a task, it looks at the whole picture. The person, their ultimate goal, the tools they're using, but also the community they're a part of, the rules they have to follow, and how the work is actually divided up. It's a totally holistic view. When we use this framework, we can see all the different pieces of the system. So when we introduce a cobot, a brand new tool, it doesn't just change the task. It creates these ripples that change the workplace rules, the team dynamics, and the very definition of people's roles. This theory helps us map out all those different effects. So the crucial takeaway here is that as we build this cobotic future, we have to be really mindful of the bigger impacts. This isn't just about engineering a better robot. It's about designing a better system for people. And that brings us to the challenges we face and the principles that ought to guide us. As we integrate all of this technology, we have to stay vigilant. We need to be asking, are we protecting user data? Are the AI's decisions fair and unbiased? Are we accidentally turning workers into simple button pushers? Or are we upskilling them for more valuable roles? And we absolutely can't ignore the massive environmental impact and energy consumption of large-scale AI. These are the red flags we have to address head-on.
And that leads us to the key recommendations from our research. The path forward has to be human-centered. It has to put people first. The systems we build must be ethical and transparent by design. And we need smart policies and constant monitoring to make sure these technologies actually benefit society as a whole, not just a select few.
So I'll just leave you with this one final thought. We've talked a lot about tasks and decisions today, but the next big frontier is creativity. AI is already being used as a partner in design, in marketing, even in art. So as this partnership gets deeper, the really big question isn't just whether AI can be creative, but how collaborating with it will forever change the nature of our own human ingenuity. Thank you so much for watching.